The Killers by Ernest Hemmingway. It was 5:30 in the afternoon at the restaurant, so usually Nick Adams was talking to the manager George, but suddenly two men entered the lunchroom wearing black suits, sitting at the counter. Then, a normal conversation of a customer and the manager, these two hitmen named Al and Max. So George give them their orders, and then Nick Adams keeps staring at them because he's not familiar with their faces. And even George also got puzzled because there are two strangers coming at his restaurant. Then after they have eaten their food, Max ordered George that, "Can you let your cook out at the kitchen?" So he called out for the kitchen, whose name is Sam, the Niger cook. Then Sam joined them at the counter. Then suddenly the air changes. And Max become fearsome. He get a gun and said, "You will be held captive, you are my hostage. So you, cook the Niger, should go back in the kitchen with this bright boy." He is pointing out to Nick Adams. Nick Adams followed him, even though he's really still shocked, but he should still follow because Max is holding a gun. Then Max followed them at the back of the kitchen. So Al was left behind at the counter with George, the manager. Then George already knew what will happen, so he just followed because they will be in trouble. Then Al started interrogating him, asking who is Ollie Anderson, what time does Ollie Anderson comes at the restaurant. So George cooperatedly said, "Yes, I know him. He comes usually at 6 o'clock in the evening, eating his dinner." He gives information on Ollie Anderson. But then he cannot stop his mouth because as a manager, he is a talkative person. And then he asks questions because of curiosity, asking the two hitmen. Then he asked that, "What do you want from Ollie Anderson?" Then they replied that they want to kill him. And he said, "Why?" Again, they replied that, "We are just obliged by a friend." Means they do not know Ollie Anderson at all. They are just hired hitmen. Then they command George that he should refuse customers coming inside in the restaurant. Then George refuses customers, but suddenly a customer was in a hurry asking for a sandwich. So he just give the sandwich, get it in the kitchen, and at the back of the kitchen he saw that Nick Adams and the cook was being held captive. Both of them was tied by a rope, and then the customer left. And then afterwards, 6 o'clock happens. No Ollie Anderson appeared. So both of the hitmen decided to leave and warned them that they should keep their mouth shut because, threatened them that they should stay out of the problem. So the Niger agreed to that he should stay out. But Nick Adams is really bothered and he wants to help Ollie Anderson. So George told him about helping Ollie Anderson. Then Nick Adams decided to go to the boarding house, and then he met the landlady. So the landlady told him that yes, Ollie Anderson is inside, you can come in. Nick comes inside the boarding house, saw the person he wants to meet, which is Ollie Anderson. So he told Ollie Anderson about what had happened at the diner, about the plot that these two strangers want to kill him. But Ollie Anderson was not surprised because he knew what situation he had gotten himself. He knew that there are people wants him dead. So Nick Adams really suggested anything he wants to suggest, that they should go to the police, you should go out, help yourself, something like that. But Ollie Anderson really did not react at all. He just said that thank you for your help, but there's nothing you can do about it. This is my life and I knew what will happen. Something like that, because maybe he got into a big trouble. So he did not explain anything at all. Then Nick Adams leave and bid goodbye. And he was devastated, going back at the diner, talking to George, and also George said to him that you've done your part. You cannot help him anymore. It is his decision. You should stay out of it, or even you should lay low a little bit. But then Nick Adams was really bothered enough, and then George said that there is nothing you can do about it. And the feeling of Nick Adams really put his spirit down, got bothered because maybe of his conscience that something will happen to this person, Ollie Anderson, and he cannot help him at all. So that is the end of the story, and I hope that you have understand my brief short summary.